Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. And we have a little treat for you today, courtesy of Flamu, who played this game in his Vladivostok Tier 8 test. I should probably put work in progress up on the screen at some point. There we go. Tier 8 test Russian battleship. This game, as will become obvious as soon as the action starts, was played on the weekend. Yes, the weekend warrior phenomenon. The idea that the gameplay of any given game suddenly goes into the toilet as soon as everybody finishes work on a Friday. And it's not just an urban myth, it makes sense mathematically if you think about it. As soon as everybody finishes work or school on a Friday, suddenly the game is swamped with thousands and thousands of people who only really get the opportunity to play World of Warships on the weekend. And if you're only playing the game a couple of hours a week, you're obviously not going to have as much experience, and are likely, not guaranteed, but likely to be not as good at it as somebody who has the opportunity to play every day. It's not guaranteed, of course. I mean, there are people out there who play the game every day and still don't have the faintest idea what they're doing. And there are, of course, some talented amateurs out there who can only play the game on the weekends and yet are still pretty good at it. But generally speaking, it is an observable fact that as soon as that school bell rings on a Friday afternoon, the amount of stupid in World of Warship goes up 100-fold. Now, of course, it's not unusual to see people making highly questionable decision-making when you're watching some gameplay video of World of Warships on YouTube. But under normal circumstances, if you want to see 6 or 7 different examples of people who really should have stopped and asked themselves, am I sure I really want to do that? You probably have to watch 6 or 7 different World of Warships videos. Well, not today, kids. No, today we've got it all in one battle. So, the map is Northern Lights. The ship is the Vladivostok, the upcoming Tier 8 Russian battleship. But the ship that Flamu's sailing is, well, it's not the focus of the video. It's what the enemies get up to. Okay, up ahead, Akatsuki has spotted and been spotted by the enemy Sims, and is taking a ferocious pounding from absolutely everything. This is good. This is actually what we like to see happening to enemy destroyers when we bump into them in our own destroyers at close range like that. So nothing particularly stupid has happened just yet. Of course, all of these guys firing at the Akatsuki momentarily gave their positions away, but, well, if you get the chance to knock out an enemy destroyer this early in the game, it's usually worth the risk, and they very nearly did. Of course, a lot of them are showing nice big fat broadsides to young Flamu here, but again, it's relatively risk-free. He's in a Russian battleship, and one of the defining characteristics of the Russian battleship line is that while they are very tanky from the front, and they do tend to come equipped with some seriously big guns, those seriously big guns are really only effective at ranges of less than 12 kilometers. Anything more than that, and they're terribly inaccurate. So the Monarch mostly gets away with it, and I'm kind of concerned that we haven't seen the Sims torpedoes by now. There's a Gneisenau up there, and he has hydro, and that's a smoke screen. It's an obvious target for Sims torpedoes, and there they are. Not spotted by the Gneisenau's hydroacoustic search because he wasn't running it. Proximity spotted by the Akatsuki, who got incredibly lucky and didn't actually sail into any of them, but they have now been spotted, so they're no danger to Flamu. And now we have more enemy battleships sailing broadside on to the Vladivostok's 16-inch guns. Okay, he's still further than 12 kilometers away, so Flamu's going to be quite lucky to actually hit and do any meaningful damage to him, but why is he sailing backwards? Yes, I know, he's French. Leaving aside the French jokes for a second, if anybody can think of a single good reason why you'd be sitting broadside on to an incoming enemy task force in a Tier 7 battleship, in open water, and sailing backwards, do let me know, because if there is a good reason for this, I cannot think of it. Well, Jingles, maybe he's trying to use the cover provided by the island behind him. Well, but there's an island in front of him, and he could be hiding behind that. The downside, faster going forwards than he's likely to be by going backwards. So, once again, I've got nothing. Now, that's a very angry-looking smoke screen just up ahead, which probably means there's an enemy destroyer, possibly the Sims. So Flamu is obviously in no rush to collect a bunch of torpedoes by poking his nose around the headland of the island up there. And it's not a destroyer. Well, it's not just a destroyer. It's the Neptune. the extremely fragile Tier 9 British light cruiser, who was nice and safe, with the Sims in the cover of the smokescreen around there, but for some reason decided, probably because he wants to get his torpedoes away and sink the big fat juicy Russian test battleship, decided it was a good idea to do this. You notice how he's not even firing his guns until now when it's far too late, and you notice how far out he had to come in order to fire the torpedoes at a ship that's basically behind him, and is getting further behind him because Flamu has discovered how to press his W key. And every single one of those torpedoes is gonna miss. Not by much, but every single one of them missed. So, great decision there, Neptune. Thanks for playing, but hey, at least you weren't AFK. Of course, the Sims popped out as well, but you can see the available firing angle that he actually has on Flamu's Vladivostok, which of course is why he sailed out as far as he did over to the left-hand side of the screen, which means there are guaranteed to be Sims torpedoes on the way as well. We just might have to wait a while, because the Sims torpedoes are so incredibly slow, which gives Flamu all the time in the world to reverse while turning the ship nose in the direction of any anticipated Sims torpedoes as well. Now the thing is, it's always a game of risk versus reward. When that Sims popped out on his torpedo run, he had 13,800 health. He was on full health. There are all of his torpedoes. They've all missed, so the reward was nothing. As for the risk, well, when he popped out, he was on full health, 13,800, and when we last saw him, he lost 13,325 of it, so probably not worth the risk, all things considered. This, of course, is when the Atlanta pops up. Now, when he first appeared, he wasn't on full health, but he did have about 80% of it remaining. Now, he can't hit Flamu from there, and Flamu can't hit him from there, but he's entirely happy to give his position away and lose almost all of whatever health he had remaining to a spot of counter-battery armour-piercing fire. Why on earth would you be hanging around 2 kilometres away around the corner of an island from a Tier 8 battleship with 9 16-inch guns in a ship as notoriously fragile as the Atlanta? Oh, hold on a second. The Atlanta has torpedoes, doesn't it? Yes, it does, but they only have a 4.5 kilometre range. So Flamu decides he's going to try and bait out the Atlanta, although we're just going to finish off the Sims first. There we go. And see if he can con the Atlanta into coming out and killing himself in an effort to get those torpedoes away. And slow down and reverse. Yep, there they are. Oh dear. Flamu still can't hit him, but, well, everybody else can. Now, do you think that Sims managed to get some torpedoes away before Flamu executed him? Well, it's likely that he did. And yep, there's one set of torpedoes, and there's the second set of torpedoes, and one of these torpedoes is at least going to hit. But it's also worth pointing out that at the precise moment when the Sims fired those torpedoes, the Atlanta was still alive and was moving forward, and if he hadn't been killed by Flamu's team, he would have been killed by that Sims, because he would have sailed right into all of those friendly torpedoes. Well, I say friendly torpedoes, but there is no such thing as a friendly torpedo. Remember, kids, once Mr. Torpedo has left the launcher, he is no longer your or anybody else's friend. So you have to look at things in context. Yes, it's true that the enemy team are now down a Sims, but they're also now down a potential team killer, so in the greater scheme of things, they're probably actually better off now that the Sims is dead. So, we've had a couple of prime grade A examples of stupid so far, but there is more to come. Check out the enemy Richie Lulu over there, the Tier 8 French battleship. He's got a rather large chunk of health remaining, and he's bloody close. The other thing that it's important to note about the Richie Lulu is that in common with other French battleships, it has all of its firepower in the front in 2 forward-mounted quadruple gun turrets, which means that you can keep your ship nose in and not have to expose huge portions of the broadside of the ship in order to get all of your guns firing the way the Vladivostok would have to if it wanted to get the rear turret on target. But Jingles, he was coming around the side of an island. He didn't have an awful lot of choice. Well, okay, fair enough. So, what's his excuse now? And here's another thing. Just because your guns are loaded and ready to fire doesn't mean you should fire them. Firing now resulted in 0 damage because Flamu is bow tanking him. He continues to give broadside when he doesn't have to. If he'd held his fire until, I don't know, around about now. Yeah. He might have been able to do that to Flamu, but he didn't, so he's dead. Next, enemy Cossack. And you can't really criticise this guy too much. He was attempting to defend his cap from the Z-23 and the friendly Richie Lulu over there, so he's probably expended his torpedoes on them, and they haven't hit anything because the Z-23 would almost certainly have been running his hydro. So his only other alternative was to try to stay inside the cap circle and deny it, but yeah. At least he tried. So, just the Tirpitz and the Attigo left. There's the Tirpitz, but where's the Attigo? What's he doing there? He was nice and safe on the far side of those islands. I mean, he's going to die, the match is over, but rather than staying there and possibly finishing off that low health Neptune, he decided, nope, I'm going to sail into this crossfire. Now, I can think of one good reason why he would do that. He wants to get torpedoes away from both sides and farm some damage before the end of the match, but he's going to die. The only way he's going to see any damage from those torpedoes was if that Tirpitz stayed alive long enough for them to hit anything, and he didn't, so... oh well, never mind. Better luck next time. Welcome to the weekend, folks. Now, how are we going to top that? Well, as mentioned in yesterday's episode of Mingles with Jingles, I've got a whole bunch of stuff to give away for my birthday last week, courtesy of Wargaming. We have a whole bunch of contributor and air supply loot crate codes, as well as one of these beauties, the Tirpitz, the German premium tier 8 battleship. All you have to do to win, and there's all kinds of opportunities for this to go horribly, horribly wrong, because it's going to be the first time I've done it, but all you have to do is go and join the Salt Mines Discord. There's a link down below in the video description. And before you collect your pickaxe and get to work mining salts, just have a look in the announcements channel where there should be all the information that you need to know to be in with a chance of winning either this Tirpitz, well, not this one's mine, but a Tirpitz, or if you're not lucky enough to win the Tirpitz, 14 of you will also be the proud recipients of either community contributor or air supply container codes. All prizes are global. You don't have to have an account on the EU server in order to participate in the giveaway. So, best of luck to everybody, see you in the salt mines, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.